Hey, hello, I'm Kråkan, also known as Corvus Cornix, so welcome to Yacc, yet another Crowcast where I pick a game, I play it for a week, and then I'll talk about it. This week's game is Doom: The Dark Ages for the PS5. It was released in 2025 and it's a first-person shooter, developed by id Software and published by Bethesda Softworks. And also will be spoilers up ahead, just so you know, but first a little backstory. So I had no plans of playing Doom this week, but this is kind of a funny story. The previous week before this game was released, one of my co-workers, nicknamed Salo, he did a pre-order for the game. He was waiting for the game to get verified. He didn't get any, so he was like, okay, maybe I did something wrong. So he did the process over again, and he was like, nothing happened. He went to call help desk, but just when he was about to call or, get an email, his verification was approved for 2 games. So he told me this story, how he accidentally got 2 copies of the game, and he asked me if I wanted to buy the game of him for a discount. And I said, sure, why not? So I got the game for half price. So when you start up the game, you get a couple of company logos and a warning for epilepsy. And then you get the options and settings and agreeing to sell your soul to the devil in the license agreement section. Then you can select between campaign, extra, and, other settings. And then, of course, you choose the difficulty, and then it's on with the story. So in the city of Kalim, there is a siege going on, and the bad guys are looking for something, and the Slayer is sent in to deal with it. And then the Doom logo appears, and then it's into battle. So the rain is pouring down, setting the mood of the game perfectly. So at the beginning of the level, you need to deal with some demons. You have a shotgun with 20 rounds and a shield. You can block with the shield, and you can also throw it later in the game. So this is basically the tutorial section. You jump with the X button, you scale walls, and you also have some daze mechanics that you learn about. You can also kick stunned enemies to, make short work of them, giving some ammo and health and stuff like that. So I don't know, but every 5 or 10 meters there was a pop-up on the screen saying you can do this, you can do that. So there's a lot of things that the game kind of bombards you with. Health pickups are blue, ammo pickups are red/orange, and armor is green. Once an enemy is dazed, you can press the R3 button or L3 button to do various things such as kicking them, making short work of them, getting ammo and health. Basically, this is what the game is about. You go into an area, you kill a bunch of demons, and you get keys, and that's about it. I also found a life sigil, which is basically an extra life, so if your health drops down to 0, you can use an extra life in order to get back on your feet. I also collected a toy, and they are indicated on the map. Same thing with skins for your guns. And skins and toys, I guess skins mostly, can be earned by completing challenges in the different maps. So the main objective of the first stage is to close the demon hell gates. I also found a codex, which is basically facts about monsters and locations. So the first level ends with you killing a huge titan with a turret. And then the main bad guy, this demon prince called Azarak, he's plotting against the good guys, I guess. And that's the end of chapter 1. And apparently there are 22 chapters in total. So the second chapter is called Hebeth. And you can also go back to the previous chapters to look for skins, secrets, and toys, and so on. So the second chapter is about the Sentinels. As far as I understand it, they're just using the Doomslayer as a tool to do their bidding. So this chapter also introduces the chainsaw shield, which is exactly what it sounds like. You also collect gold in order to upgrade your guns, shields, and melee at the Sentinel Shines. So I played through chapter 2, collected more skins, and about this point I was actually exhausted because this game is 100% all the time, in your face. I also got to talk about that you pick up guns and upgrades along the way. So a bit further into the game, you actually get to control a huge mech, battling other titan demons, and you also get to soar on a mecha dragon, which is kind of tedious. This game has a thing with dodging, or not dodging, but parrying, and you need to parry all the enemy's attacks in order to, do your awesome kill animations. But after a while, there are green things all over the screen that you need to parry, and it's just overwhelming. I don't know, it's one of those things that I didn't like about the game, the pairing system. Other people that I talked about online and on Twitch said they, go by it, it's their favorite thing, but I didn't enjoy it. And when the game is all about parrying all the time, I think it's tedious, at least. So, gameplay. The Slayer's on a mission to take on hell itself. Control, the left stick is movement, the right stick is camera, the X button jumps, the circle button interacts, the R1 button is switching weapons, the R2 button is fire, L1 is shield throwing, L2 is blocking or parrying if you do with the timing, the mid bar gets you into the inventory, maps, and so on, and the option button pauses. Graphics. So this game used the id Tech Engine 8 and the game looks real good on the PS5, that's all I have to say. Sound of Music. The soundtrack was made by Finishing Move, which is Brian Trifone and Brian Lee White. So I was a bit skeptical going into the soundtrack this week, and I can't help but compare it to Mick Gordon's soundtrack. He has a lot of heavy on the pedals and guitar stuff. And at the beginning of the week, I didn't really like the soundtrack at all, but the more I listened to it while playing, and it's also on Spotify, by the way, so go have a listen. It's also on YouTube. The more I listened to it, the more it grew on me. So I can actually recommend a couple of tracks called The Infernal Chasm and Unholy Siege. The only thing I could wish for was if the soundtrack was more loud, which you probably can change in the options, and I also wanted more, awesome guitar parts. So in conclusion, I wrote, yes, play it. Every time I had to put down the controller, I was physically exhausted, and that's not a bad thing. So the game sounds good and it looks good. The id Tech engine is awesome, in my opinion. The only bad thing about the game was I got a physical copy from Salo, as I said before, and I popped it into my PS5, and I had to update. So this game doesn't really need a CD to be played because it just has like a verification key on the CD, if that makes sense. So I had to download like 64 to 80 gigs or something at launch, and I was not happy about it. But otherwise, it's a good game. You have to get into the dodging or parrying mechanics, but otherwise it's fine. So I can definitely recommend it, but get it at a sale if you can, because the game is pretty expensive as it is now. So anyway, thanks for listening and or watching, and take care.